There are a lot of people that think the Ohio State Buckeyes are in big trouble against number one Texas on Saturday. Yeah, I was a little surprised too, by the way. But the stats say that the Buckeyes have no chance. We'll explore this a little further. Locked on Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman. 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer. And I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hey, hit that free subscribe button down below. That way you'll never miss a single episode. Plus, if you don't mind, share, like, and follow so you don't miss a single episode. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is right here. Visit the FanDuel app today. Start planning your futures bets now. It's a lot of fun. So the Buckeyes in trouble? We got some recruiting news too, plus our top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. But to the Buckeyes, they open the season against the number one rated Texas Longhorns on Saturday. Here's a fun fact for you. Maybe not so much, not a fun fact if you're a Buckeyes fan. But did you know that in the last 20 years, when a quarterback like Ohio State quarterback Julian Sand makes his first career start against the number one team in the nation, like the Texas Longhorns, that quarterback and his team are 0-18. That's right. The last 20 years, guy making his first start against the number one team has never won. That's not good, but is that how this is going to play out? I mean, of course, the number one rated Texas Longhorns that come into Ohio Stadium, they're taking on the third ranked Ohio State Buckeyes. Not like the Buckeyes are bad, right? And of course, will be a noon Eastern kickoff to start the 2025 season. And the Buckeyes will begin defense of their national championship. And of course, that's part of Fox's big noon kickoff. And Locked On Big Ten, we're going to go live here on this YouTube channel right after the game. We've been doing this for a couple years, and we go live after the biggest games on the weekend, whether they're in the afternoon or late at night, prime time. We have a lot of success with it. We get a lot of new viewers. Plus, you guys can interact with me directly live with your comments, my immediate reaction to the game. So we're going live. Mark your calendar right after the Texas-Ohio State game right here on Saturday afternoon, in addition to our daily podcast here. Can't wait. So, let's not forget this game. This is big for a lot of reasons, right? It's a rematch of last year's college football semifinal playoff game. Remember, Jack Sawyer, late sack, strip, recovery, and that broke open a close game at the end. I know Texas hasn't forgotten about it. They felt like they were right there. They were marching in to score until they didn't. And that was pretty much lights out for the Longhorns at that point. But they've been to the college football playoffs 2 years in a row. They were that close. They haven't been able to get over the hump. So this is an important game for them, too. They have a significant quarterback change as well. How can if you even barely pay attention to college football, how can you not know what's going on at quarterback at Texas? Quinn Ewers is gone. He's in the NFL. Arch Manning, who's been the most famous backup in college football for 2 years, and with the Manning name is the closest thing we have to football royalty here in this country. He's got a lot to prove as well. So the experts don't think this is going to go well. I say that in quotations, by the way. You know, I have a sense of sarcasm here. The experts are predicting a blowout in favor of Texas. Now, who are the experts? I'm an expert. You're an expert. SEC Twitter warriors, ESPN talking heads, of course, Big Ten hater and SEC lover Paul Feinbaum. In fact, Feiney thinks that the Texas roster is way better, and he thinks that Ohio State will have a hangover from last year. Feiney, I hate to break it to you, but there are 14 players in the NFL now that were on that Ohio State team. If there's a hangover, there's nobody left to have a hangover. That team is gone. They've moved on. And there aren't enough players remaining at Ohio State to have a hangover. Plus, both coordinators are gone. The starting quarterback is gone. Both running backs are gone. Emeka Egbuka is gone. 8 of the 11 starters on defense are gone. There's no hangover. I don't know what Feinbaum's talking about, but I rarely do. Oh, didn't I mention that the Buckeyes also will have the best player on the field at all times on Saturday? Not only against Texas, but anybody they play this year. On offense, they'll have all-world wide receiver Jeremiah Smith. And on defense, they'll have Caleb Downs on the field. Those are the two best players in college football. Ohio State will always have the best player on the field at any given time. As for Texas, they have some questions as well. They need to answer some stuff. In fact, enough questions where I would not go out on a limb and say that they're going to blow out Ohio State. I just wouldn't do that. Look, Arch is going to be a good quarterback. I'm excited as anybody else to see him play. I really am. But, he's never been better than Quinn Ewers, who seems to be barely good enough to be the third string quarterback on the Dolphins right now. And when we did see Arch, look, he was better than serviceable. He didn't blow me away. And, I don't see him coming into Ohio Stadium and just blowing the doors off the Buckeyes defense. Do you? Anybody out there? I don't think so. Look, I will give Arch. Arch is more mobile than Quinn Ewers, so he can take off and run a little bit. And he's got some questions in front of him. Like, they have one guy returning on their offensive line. I know the Ohio State Buckeyes are trying to piece that offensive line together. And I know the kid that got transferred in from Rice, paid him a lot of money. It doesn't look like he's going to make the top 2 in the depth chart, but I think Ohio State's offensive line is in better shape than Texas's right now as far as answering any questions. Look, the Longhorn defense is going to be good. That's going to be they're going to be good, and that's going to be the biggest challenge right there for Julian Sayin making his first start. There's no question about it. I'm not belittling Texas. I'm just not saying that. Saying there's not going to be a blowout. And obviously, Sayin's going to be looking for Jeremiah Smith. So is the Longhorn defense. Carnell Tate could be a nice option out there in the Buckeyes passing game. I'm also anxious to see tight end and Purdue transfer Max Clare. I think he's going to be a nice addition this year and maybe a friendly receiver for a young quarterback. Watch out for him. He had 51 catches and 4 touchdowns last year while playing on an inept Purdue Boilermaker offense. Imagine him now with an Ohio State offense. I think he'll be pretty good this year, don't you? So despite the doom and gloom of all the so-called experts, Ohio State has not lost a season opener since 1999. But admittedly, those games haven't been against the number 1 team in the country. 1 versus 3. This is the best season opener, most exciting, most highly ranked 2 teams that we've ever had to start off the season. Very excited about it. But there's a reason that the Buckeyes are also ranked number 3. It's not just based on reputation or the jersey or the helmet. There's still a lot of talent on that roster, even though they lost a lot from the national championship team. Both sides, really. A lot of talent, but both sides replacing a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. But I think it's ridiculous to say right here that one side will blow the other side out. In fact, Vegas thinks it's ridiculous also. Right now, Ohio State is a 2.5-point favorite, I believe. And that's at home field. So I expect the line to move -2, 1.5. It's going to be a close game either way, no matter which way. Even if the line flips, it's going to be a close game. And the beauty of this for college football fans is that the loser of this game is still in great shape. If number 1 loses to number 3, or if number 3 loses to number 1, neither team is going to fall that much in the rankings. They still have everything ahead of them as far as all their goals go for the season. And I expect no matter what, just like last year, that both of these teams are a lock to make the college football playoffs or return to the 12-team football college football playoffs. Don't you think? Once again, a reminder, we're going to go live right after this game, Texas and Ohio State on Saturday. Probably going to be about 3:30 Eastern-ish, 12:30 on the West Coast. Join us. We'll have a lot of fun for immediate reaction and your comments as well. In fact, we're going to do that all season after the biggest games. Sometimes it'll be Big Ten Saturday night after the 7:30 game on NBC. Sometimes it'll be whatever, the afternoon game. But and I'll let you know in plenty of time right here on this podcast where we're going to be. Speaking of comments, hit us up now. Would love to hear your opinion. Do you think this game's going to be a blowout? Am I missing something? I think it's going to be close either way, no matter who you think is going to win this game. Hey, do me a favor. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. It's free. That way you'll never miss a single episode of Locked On Big Ten. And if you don't mind, share, follow, and like. Hit that little arrow, share. I know if you're a Big Ten fan, you know other Big Ten fans and friends of yours that maybe don't know we're out here every single day. Please let them know. And check out our website, talkbig10.com, where we have all of our podcasts and, of course, links for you to buy merchandise from your favorite team. You want an Ohio State shirt, T-shirt, hat, get it right there. while you're checking out our podcast at talkbig10.com. All right, lots to do. We always have lots to do. We jam a lot in here in this podcast each and every day. Latest recruiting news. We'll go a little bit inside the Huskers, who have a weeknight game tonight, this week, opening up against Cincinnati. And we have our top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. Plus, I'm going to tell you, hang on, I'm going to tell you how you can get a free $100 Amazon gift card. That's all coming up next right here on Locked On Big Ten. Rougiette. Guys, maybe you've tried Viagra, Cialis. You're looking for something beyond the usual pill. It's time to meet Rougiette Ready. Rougiette Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. And unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rougiette's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast on the average of 15 minutes. And the effects can last up to 36 hours. So you can stay confident and in control for when the moment is right. Over 150,000 men have tried it already. People love it. It's completely online, and customer reviews are absolutely amazing. Head to rougiette.com/LockedOnCollege and use the code LockedOnCollege to get 15% off today. That's Rougiette, RUGIET.com/LockedOnCollege and use the promo code LockedOnCollege for 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but not FDA approved, and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, and manufacturing review. Please visit the Rougiette website for full safety information. All right, I told you how you can get a $100 gift card from Amazon. Here we go. Because we have a request for you. All right, Locked On, the whole Locked On family. They want to hear from you. They put together a survey to learn more about our listeners. And we're trying to make your favorite podcast better each and every day. It's a chance for you to tell us what you do like, what you don't like, answer questions about our advertising. You go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey and get started there. Everyone who completes a survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards we have available. Again, that's lockedonpodcast.com/survey. And you can also find the links in our show notes as well. So thanks for helping us out with that. And thanks for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day. Don't forget to share, follow, like, and subscribe. All right. Chalk one up for the SEC over the Big Ten. As expected, 2026 5-star offensive lineman Darius Gray picked South Carolina over Tennessee and Ohio State and LSU and Clemson. 6'3", 285-pound player from Richmond, Virginia. A lot of big schools wanted him. And we kept him on our watch list because Ohio State was in the mix. But we told you last week he was leaning South Carolina. Well, he leaned South Carolina. He picked the Gamecocks. So he's up there going to be with Coach Beamer and the Gamecocks. Meanwhile, Oregon 4-star commit safety Devin Jackson, 2026. We told you when he committed to Oregon around 4th of July week. He's on flip watch. Keep an eye on him. He's on flip watch. He's from Florida. And he was originally a commit to the Florida Gators. And then Dan Lanning went out, got him, and he made a visit or two, and he liked Oregon, and he says he's coming to Oregon. Miami and Florida are still calling him relentlessly. They're trying to flip him. So Penn State was even in the mix for a while. But I think it's between now Florida and Miami are trying to flip him from Oregon. Oregon obviously wants him to stay. So we'll keep an eye on that situation as well. Outside of regular coach speak, I think Nebraska's Matt Rule is more open and honest with fans and media than most. I do. I like when he talks. I like to listen to him. He recently gave what I thought was a pretty honest answer about when he thinks that his team started to come together, take that step forward. And he said it was at the Pinstripe Bowl last year. The transfer portal was over, so the kids that left, and everybody was still there. They were still there and invested in the program. That was the team, right? And look, when you go to the Pinstripe Bowl, we've had Big Ten teams in the Pinstripe Bowl 2 years in a row. It's December in New York. I get it. It's not Florida. It's not sunny and warm. Break from the weather. Fans like to travel. If you go to a bowl game, maybe more fans would come if it were in Florida as opposed to New York. I get it. And he admitted that. But that was kind of, his team was a little bit by itself out there in New York. And again, the kids that left in the portal were gone, and that they kind of bonded a little bit with that unique experience. And he says that really has helped them come together, and he thinks take a step forward. Now, moving forward to this week, the Huskers have a big season opener against Cincinnati. It's at Arrowhead, and we're going to preview that game later on here on Locked On Big Ten later on this week. But the Huskers have announced their team captains. Quarterback Dylan Raiola, he's the youngest of them on there, obviously in year 2, a sophomore, but he's a team captain. Dane Key, wide receiver. Interesting. He's only been with the program a few months, transferred in from Kentucky in the offseason, and the team likes him. He's a captain. Offensive lineman Henry Latofsky, and then 3 defensive backs. Marquise Buford Jr., Deshaun Singleton, and Syer Wright are all going to be captains for the team this year. Raiola, by the way, he's been dedicating himself, getting into shape, and he says he's in the best shape of his life. He says he feels great, ready to go. In addition to working out, he's doing a lot of recovery, back and forth. I mean, he's locked in. He says he's ready to give 100% of himself to this football team. He's ready to go. Great example for everybody else around there. And another note on Rule and Raiola. I mean, they got their eyes on the playoffs. Rule's 12-13 in his first 2 seasons in Lincoln. And of course, Raiola's only been there 1 year. But they got, they went bowling last year. So we talked at length about Nebraska in Friday's podcast. If you missed it, go back for a second, listen after this one. Nebraska's on my sleeper list team to make a nice jump this year. We did the podcast on Nebraska and Washington, both as my teams to keep an eye on to jump up and trying to crack that upper tier this year. So anyway, Raiola, or rather Rule says, hey man, playoffs. We got to get to the play. That's the next goal here. So they finally broke that long multi-year streak of not making a bowl game. They took care of that, winning record. Now it's playoffs. That's what they got their eyes set on. If you watched a handful of college football games this past weekend, we had a few this past Saturday. No Big Ten teams, but there were a few out there. However, Badger fans may have seen a familiar face if you're flipping through the channels, watching some college football over the weekend. Luke Fickell's first and former offensive coordinator at Wisconsin, Phil Longo. He is the head coach of Sam Houston State. So maybe you saw them in action against Western Kentucky. Unfortunately for Longo, he lost to Western Kentucky 41-24. His air raid offense did manage 382 yards, but man, they just could not move the chains, could not convert on 3rd and 4th downs. By the way, his backup quarterback is former Badger Mabry Mature as well. He didn't play though. And then I don't know if you saw this going in the weekend. I meant to make a note of this on Friday, but former Michigan star Heisman Trophy winner Desmond Howard. He's been a longtime staple on ESPN's Game Day show that everybody likes. Took a bit of a shot at Fox's Big Noon show for the recent hire of Barstool's Dave Portnoy. He suggests that the hire of Portnoy was just to offset ESPN's hiring of outgoing Pat McAfee. And by outgoing, I mean personality, big person, not like he's leaving 2 years ago. And I'm like, well, duh, yeah. We not only suggested it here on the podcast, we flat out said that was the reason for the hire. No doubt, Desmond, that is the reason for the hire. So we'll see how those two go head to head with their ratings and all that. Going to be a lot of fun this college football season. All right, coming up a weekend on Mondays, we always like to do our top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. The last couple of weeks, we've had some fun looking at Big Ten alum in the NFL and the preseason, trying to make teams and all that kind of stuff. We're going to revisit that one more time. And then next Monday, we'll go back to our traditional top 10 Big Ten observations for the weekend. We'll be looking at all the Big Ten games and highlight superstars and who did what. And that's when it's really fun. We like that. But we always have fun with features at the end of our podcast. Our Big Ten top 10 observations. Tuesdays, tomorrow, we'll do Tuesday tweets. Wednesdays, we power rank stuff. Last week, we went on the record and power ranked all 18 teams, 1 through 18, getting ready for the season. Thursdays, we like to take a look at Big Ten Classics on the Big Ten Network, and Fridays are our Pigskin Picks segment. We got games. This is it. We're gonna have a lot of fun all week long right here. So our top 10 Big Ten observations, that's coming up next right here on Locked On Big Ten. FanDuel, the season's here, right? And also here, mark your calendar, August 26th, this week. FanDuel Futures Day, futures bets. It's a brand new holiday for football fans who like big, bold predictions and preseason hunches for what's going on in the season. So for a 24-hour period, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you want to call your shot right now for the MVP, when they announce that in January, or the Super Bowl winner for February, you can do it right now. Get great odds, great chances on it. Maybe you got a long shot hunch on a division winner. Go for it right now. All right. Take a flyer on the MVP, Super Bowl. I told you what I'm going to do. Aiden Hutchinson, Detroit Lions, parlay both of these. Defensive player of the year and comeback player of the year off of that gruesome injury last year. And he's been looking great here in the preseason practice. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now, because Futures Day is one day only. FanDuel, play your game August 26th, right there on FanDuel Futures Day. Thanks for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day. We are going to take a look at our top 10 Big Ten observations from the week. I'm going to put it full screen here, just in case you're audio only. Don't fret it. We will describe it in detail. And again, these 10 are not in any particular order. This is not a ranking. This is more of a listing of things I wanted to talk about that I observed over the weekend. First of all, before we get to Caleb Williams, and this did not make our list because not all top 10 Big Ten observations are good things. And this did not make our list, but I did want to mention Aiden O'Connell, because he's a Purdue alum with the Raiders, broke his wrist in a loss to Arizona. That means he's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. He'll start out the season on injured reserve. So bad news there. All right, back to our list. USC alum quarterback Caleb Williams. The Bears win over Kansas City. They got a win a week before against Buffalo. Caleb looking fairly sharp. Went 11 of 15, and a touchdown in the game against Kansas City, and looked sharp against Buffalo the week before. This guy's putting it together with Ben Johnson, his offensive coordinator. I'm telling you, not bad, not bad. All right. Also, observations. Here's one. Wisconsin alum Tanner Mordecai. He's with the Niners now, in case you lost track of him. And they got a win over the LA Chargers, Jim Harbaugh and company. Tanner Mordecai was 10 of 13 and a touchdown. Not bad. Not bad at all. I think Badger fans wish he would have put numbers like that up more often. At number 8, Washington alum, Rome Odunze, wide receiver for the Bears, 3 catches and 45 yards and a touchdown against Kansas City. Not bad. And also making our top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend, Ohio State alum, JTT, couple of tackles for the Colts against Indy. I looked, Ty Warren did not have any catches or any stats in that game. So keep him out and keep him rested and keep him ready to go for the start of the season. Let's see here. We got, a couple of Iowa Hawkeye alum, Luke Lachey. He's with the Texans now. Had a couple of catches for 16 yards in their big win over the Lions. And he wasn't the only one from Iowa that caught my attention over the weekend. Caleb Johnson, look, nothing too spectacular. 5 carries, 24 yards, averaging 4.8 yards per carry for the Steelers. He's going to be good, man. I think they're going to love him in Pittsburgh. And he kept the black and gold uni from Iowa to the NFL with the Steelers. He looks good. He's going to be good. He was great at Iowa. He's going to be great with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're going to love him with that running game there. Aaron Rodgers is going to love handing off the ball to him. Rutgers alum Trey Avery had 7 tackles for the Bucks against Buffalo this weekend. Wanted to give him a mention. Some defensive love there. How about Minnesota? Remember their former quarterback just for a year, transferred in last year, the Golden Gophers, Max Brosmer, staying in Minnesota. He's with the Vikings, played a little bit. I mean, that's going to be J.J. McCarthy's gig, but Max Brosmer trying to hang on to that and looked okay and lost to Tennessee, 15 of 23 and a touchdown in that game. And then let's close it out with a couple of Oregon Ducks. First of all, alum Dylan Gabriel got to play for the Browns in their win over the Rams. He went 12 of 19 for 129 yards and a touchdown. Look, I have no idea what the Browns are going to do at quarterback with Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, Kenny Pickett, and I don't know. I don't know which if the one of those guys is the odd man out or not. And they got 5 quarterbacks on that roster as well. So I really don't know. I hope Dylan Gabriel gets a fair shake here. Got a good look this weekend, as did Oregon alum. I was thinking of Joe Flacco was the other one they got. Oregon alum Tez Johnson for the Buccaneers in the loss to Buffalo. 8 catches, 58 yards, and a touchdown. Look, the Bucks, they got that wide receiver room. I know Mike Evans and all that, but they got a couple of young guys. They've drafted wide receiver 2 years in a row early with Tez Johnson and Emeka Egbuka, and they're going to be they got the future all set on that wide receiver room with the Buccaneers. But I wanted to make that because I think Tez is going to be pretty good. So there you have it. Again, not in any particular order, more of a grouping, more of a listing. Our top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. Did we leave anybody off? Anybody you noticed this weekend that jumped off the page? Let me know. Hit me up in the comments section. I'd love to hear from you on all of that as we move forward. And we do these every Monday as well. It's our top 10 Big Ten observations. So we're excited. It's game week. Got our toe in the water with a few handful of games this past weekend, but no Big Ten games until now. This week, we got 4 Big Ten teams in action this week, even before Saturday. Mentioned Nebraska and Cincinnati. Minnesota plays. Rutgers plays. Michigan State plays. This is all before Saturday, Thursday, and Friday. So we're going to be talking about that throughout the week. We're looking forward to that. And then we go right into that Texas-Ohio State game on Saturday, and everybody else plays on Saturday as well. But we are going to go live here on Locked On Big Ten as soon as that Texas-Ohio State game is over. We'll be on for about a half hour or so, just however long. We just keep it going. It's always a lot of fun, and we do it each and every year, every week during football season. So check us out. If you have a friend that is a Big Ten fan that doesn't know we're out here, if you could share, don't forget to subscribe, but let them know we're out here each and every day. Check out a second listen, Locked On Big Ten. As I said, if you're a Washington or a Nebraska fan, we really focus on those 2 teams on Friday's episode, the last one. And you can check those out for a second listen as well. Another second listen, The Portal Show. Brian Smith, all things Portal every single day. That's part of Locked On Family on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. That will do it for us. It's game week, everybody. We're excited. All right. Can't wait to talk to you again tomorrow. For Locked On Big Ten, I'm Craig Sheeman. We'll see you then.